dear chairman, colleagues, friends, students, ladies, gentlemen. I have 10 minutes, so I try to do my best in 10 minutes. I will try to do here is to give a perspective on Nursi's opinion on modern values, sciences, freedom, democracy, republicanism, whatever. So whatever I can do in 10 minutes. But let's start with this, the nature of human being. People change. That is, change is a reality of time. You cannot simply form a system and then say that, okay, we just keep come and go, and also continual action. Because Allah has names, and they require reflections, and the reflections need to be renewed. This is the nature of Allah. So this also will continue. So we have to read the changing values of time. And Said Nursi makes a clear distinction on the ruling values for the new century. And he says that in the old times, the ruler was strength. That is, whoever was the strong, had the best arms, they would rule, even if they were zalim. But in the new times, the new age, the age of modern times, the rulers, the bosses, righteousness, haq, the mind, art, knowledge, ilm, the law and public opinion. That is, if you want to advance, then you have to consider these values, you have to rely on these values and adhere to them. If you try to do business based on strength, you will not rise, you will fall. And you see today, even the superpowers, when they rely on powers, are in the situation that they get in. And also, he declares the modern time as the time for reason, sciences, and compassion. And for also traditions, he gives a rule. He says that if the traditions, their benefit is less than their harm, they should be abolished. It is not like, oh, this is a tradition, we keep this. He says, judge them. If they do more harm than good, change them. And he gives as example Quran, saying that there are some abolished ayahs, and it is illegal to practice with the abolished. And he declares the time, the era, as the time of freedom, and he says dreaming of the old is simply will not get you anywhere. So either you will adhere to the values of time, because they will not change because of you, or unless you do it, you will simply fail. That is, you cannot succeed unless you open your eye and read the realities of time. And he also mentions the stages of human development. At one time it was savagery, and then slavery, captivity, and right now it is the time for freedom. That is dominion and freedom. And again, you cannot fight this value. This will dominate. And here he mentions freedom in the broadest sense, emphasizing personal rights and freedoms and the power of public opinion. And he also mentions that human beings as a whole is really like one person. And humanity has had the age of childhood. In the past, people were children, so they needed states to rule them. But right now, people became adults. And when the children grow up, they don't have orders from their parents even, or the states. And right now, that Islam will reflect on people, not on states. So this is the time for individualized Islam, not the statehood of Islam. The state is the result of the collection of human beings. So anything has to come from the bottom, not from the top. And he also gives another rule, saying that in some change, if there is potentially great benefit and little harm, typically we look at the potential harm and kind of, don't attempt it. But he says, if you don't do something that is potential for the better, because of the small harm, then you are committing a major harm. So again, they are asking us to use our reason. And of course, course, democracy and Islam discussed a lot. Are they compatible? Are they opposites? Whatever. And Said Nursi is also very clear on this. And he says democratic governments, democracy is a reality of time, and that freedom is not against Islam. Depends on how you define democracy, but democratic values and having, let's say, free will. This is the human nature. It is what makes us a human being. So we shouldn't get into that argument. Democracy is a reality of time. It is not against Islam here. And he declares republicanism as a regime of mutual consultation. Therefore, it is consistent with Islam. As he says, I can even prove that it is based on Quran. That is the dominant regimes. If, let's say, they respect human rights, they are democratic, they respect the people's choices. That republicanism is consistent with Islam because he says it is based on justice, mutual consultation, and confinement of power in law. So these are the Islamic privileges. And he quotes again ayah from the Quran saying that their affairs are based on consultation, etc. Therefore, in an Islamic regime or democratic regime, there can be no privileges. If there are privileges, or if there are privileged people in a regime, that is not Islam. And also a presidency. Nursi brings a fresh, new view here. Not really new, because remember the hadith. The chief of a nation is the one who serves its citizens. Sayyidul what? Kavmi is what? Okay. So he says here that in a true democracy, and he takes this as a constitutional Islam, in a true democracy, the presidents, the rulers, they are servants. They are servants. So in a true democracy, they should serve people. So the democracy becomes really mature. This is what we will see. And the people will be the masters. And in the new age, that will be true. In the past, people would serve the states. They would be subjects. But now it is the opposite. Therefore, since the presidents will be servants, we don't care even what religion they have. Because we don't care about what beliefs of the servants there. What matters is the beliefs of the masters, the individuals there. And he bases on this hadith the freedom of conscience, saying that people are free in their beliefs. States cannot impose things on people. States will simply serve people. And he says, I claim that it is possible to deduce the truths of the republicanism explicitly, implicitly, permissively from the four schools of Islamic law. That is whether Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, whatever. And he says, I am ready to prove this. So he's very strong on this. And he says that he is very bothered by despotism associated with Islam. Because there are many examples even today. And he says despotism and Islam are opposites. And they cannot reconcile. And Islam came to end despotism. So also Nursi is very clear on this value. And he says that despotism is a tyranny and oppression. Republicanism is justice and Sharia. The real path of true Sharia is the truth of constitutionalism that conforms to Sharia. So again, Nursi combines the modern values with Sharia, even declares it as being part of Sharia. And he also makes it very clear that there is no oppression and bigotry in Islam. Often Islam is confused with bigotry. That is kind of closing yourself and your mind to change. It is not Islam. It says Islam is not bigotry, and Islam is not oppression. It has no connection with these. And again, Nursi says that tyrannous despotism has no connection with Sharia, and Sharia came to the world in order to live oppression and despotic tyranny. So it is just opposite of what the Western world thinks. And he describes, what is despotism. I will not read it. It is oppression, rule of one person, whatever. That Islam has no connection with this, but unfortunately, Islam is confused with these things. And he again declares that constitutionalism, meşrutiyet, and nowadays republicanism, it is through justice and consultation enjoyed by Sharia. And he says, consider it favorably and work to preserve it, for our worldly happiness lies in constitutionalism. And Said Nursi said this 100 years ago, and saying that the happiness of Islam is in republicanism. It is not like, sultanate or oppression or whatever. And he also looks at freedom of conscience as a universal law, as a reality of life. That is, you cannot impress upon people to change their belief or get involved in their lifestyle. And he takes the Quranic verse, there is no compulsion in religion, truth stands out clear from falsehood, so does belief from infidelity. And Nursi says that ayah specifically looks at this age. That is, there is no compulsion in religion. And he says that the time of compulsion, the time of force has passed. Now it is the time of freedom. And you have to adhere to it. And he says the freedom of conscience, which is a modern value, is based on this ayah. That is, they are not opposites. That the freedom of conscience is really based on Quran. Of course, these are, maybe claims that, we are not used to hear from other people. But if you judge these using reason, you will see that I think there is a lot of truth in this. And he also makes the prediction that, I am finishing in 1 minute. And makes the prediction that the governments will be secular governments. Because the governments, since they are sovereign, it doesn't matter what ideology is. But only the people will matter. They just have to be just. I am told I am out of time. But let me also say that Said Nursi had a dream. And in the dream he saw a mountain exploding. And then heard the words that he should expound the miraculousness of the Quran. And he took this as a lesson, meaning that the walls around the Quran, the Ottoman Empire, the army, the state, they will be demolished. Quran will be left unprotected, apparently. But he says the truths of the Quran, which are miraculous, they will defend themselves. And this can be done only with reason. And Said Nursi in the Risale-i did exactly this. That is, using reason, he simply proved the truth of the Quran, saying that if possible, can you object to this? And he said there is no way. So Quran defends itself, doesn't need any protection from the state or from other things. And Said Nursi's dream was, he knew that the time is short for the modern people. It takes, let's say, in madrasas, in the Ottoman Empire, like 15 years to really study sciences, not sciences, the religious sciences, to learn all those things. And he prayed that he has a way so that people learn religion enough to reach the highest level of Iman in 15 weeks. And he says, Alhamdulillah, my prayer has been answered, and risale-i is that. That is in risale-i, through this reason-based argument, people can have the high level of Iman, often in hours, sometimes days, and sometimes years. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yunus. The paper, the topic was so important, I was deeply engrossed.